Images released by the World Health Organization show the scale of the damage to Gaza's Al-Ahli hospital after yesterday's Israeli airstrike. Israel gave a 20-minute warning before the attack, which destroyed a 2-story laboratory and caused massive damage to the emergency department. It leaves just 2 other hospitals in Gaza's north, both operating at less than 20% of capacity.
We will need weeks to restore the place, and in some parts, maybe months. There is a major problem in the radiology and laboratory departments. The damaged equipment cannot be replaced because of the blockade imposed on the Strip.
Israel said, without providing evidence, that it had targeted a Hamas command and control center. Further south, the aftermath of another strike in Khan Yunis. Again, a warning to leave before a tented encampment for displaced people was bombed.
There were 150 tents here, 150 families. There are no tents left. There's nothing left. Our homes were destroyed. Our tents were destroyed. What will we do next? Where will we go?
All of this adding to the already grave concerns about Gaza's humanitarian situation.
For over 1 month now, no aid, no supply, no electricity, no a crust of bread has entered Gaza. Access is completely blocked by Israel. Food is running out while warehouses outside Gaza are full with food is rotting there because we can't get in.
The EU among those calling for an immediate ceasefire.
Yeah, remember when this is the same hospital that kickstarted the process of Israeli Hasbara, where everyone was yelling at me when I said, going along with BBC's initial reporting, that the Al-Ahli hospital was initially struck. The Al-Ahli hospital courtyard was initially struck by Israel. And then Israel just lied and offered no real evidence as to why it wasn't them. And we just kind of moved on from it. But that's where that's where the Biden administration basically platformed the term Hamas-run health ministry, which is now a part of the lexicon. Remember that. This was that hospital. Also remember, Israel had previously bombed the Al-Ahli hospital 2 days prior. They actually fucking hit it with artillery shells 2 days prior to the courtyard bombing. No, that's not. That was from the start. They were saying Hamas-run from the casualty reports. Yes, but that was when the American administration said that it was Hamas-run health ministry numbers, and I do not believe them. That's what Biden said on the main stage.
The latest talks in Egypt breaking up without a breakthrough. Hamas, though, reported to be reviewing an Israeli proposal for 10 Israeli hostages to be released at the beginning of a 45-day pause. Major sticking points remain, but the proposal is reported to include the resumption of humanitarian aid into Gaza.
Well, the Irish trauma surgeon, Dr. Morgan McMonagle, recently got back from a 6-week humanitarian mission working in Gaza's Nasser hospital. He joins me now from Waterford. Good evening. What do you think the impact of the bombing of the Al-Ahli hospital will be?
The bombing is absolutely massive. And in fact, I was lucky enough to have visited Al-Ahli hospital in Gaza City while we spent time in Nasser hospital. And it was already struggling to regain a good foothold, in managing the people of the Gaza Strip, because you have to remember over 1.5 million people were internally displaced down to the south, to Khan Yunis and Rafah, and now they were, since the ceasefire started in January, they were slowly making their way back up north, and the hospitals were slowly starting to manage what we might call neglected surgical disease, conditions that people were unable to present to hospital with, like advanced cancers and diabetes and diabetic foot, as well as a lot of complex war-related tertiary and quaternary effects of the war from previous gunshot wounds and blasts. I was in Nasser Hospital the night it was hit as well. And even though amazingly and miraculously only 2 people were killed, it is absolutely amazing that nobody else was injured, but the entire war was put out of action. Structurally, it was unsound for anybody to be in there other than construction workers. The very fact that since the blockade of aid and food and energy to desalinize the water.
Where's that fucking douchebag that you guys banned immediately? He said, like it or not, I'm glad that there are... they're deporting people. Dude, the irony is guys like this fantasize about China behaving in this way. They fantasize about North Korea behaving in this way. And when America is behaving in this way, They go, oh, I love it, actually. The fuck do you mean foreigners are not allowed to cause disruption? Like, what are you talking about? What is the disruption? They were literally engaging in lawful activity. The fuck is wrong with you? It is not illegal to protest, citizen or non-citizen alike, but these guys were also legal permanent residents anyway. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, you're not allowed to protest if you're a fucking non-citizen. This is a new thing. I hope you understand that. The thing that you're championing is not a country that I think is moving in the right direction.
Medicines have been blocked since the 2nd of March. And even though NGOs did stockpile for a certain number of weeks.
You know what's even crazier? This is happening at the behest of a foreign nation too. Like, these guys could be like, fuck America. America sucks dick. And they probably wouldn't get this level of fucking immigration enforcement. But God forbid you say fuck Israel, dude. This is not a country anymore. I'm sorry. We're not a fucking real nation. But you're an absolute baboon if you don't recognize how this will inevitably harm you.
We could see every single day food and supplies were getting less and less and less quality, less quantity.
So what is available? I mean, what hospitals are available to people in Gaza?
Well, I believe before the current conflict, there was about 36 hospitals that were functioning. Now there's 22 that are only partially functioning. What I've been told from people who are on the ground, they're less than 20% functioning, most of these hospitals. So you can't take care of normal disease, normal conditions, never mind the conflict-related conditions, which are mostly blast-related. And the problem with a blast-related injury is it doesn't just affect one system or one part of the body, it affects all parts of the body and all teams. Even when I was there were specialists traveling from North Gaza and Gaza City down to Khan Yunis and down to Rafah. So they're spread out. So manpower is spread very thin on the ground, as well as a lack of supplies. So really it is more and more suffering on the ordinary people of Gaza. Yeah. And remember, keep in mind that about 50% of the population of Gaza is under 14 years of age.
Now, the Israelis say that this Al-Ahli hospital had a Hamas sort of control center in it somehow, and that's why they bombed it.
Yeah,
they said in the Nasser hospital where you were working that there was a Hamas leader using it as a base rather than being treated for wounds. What can you say about your time there in terms of what you saw? As you know, did you see Hamas there?
Oh, look, there was a time when every person with an Irish accent was a member of the IRA as well. I mean, as a humanitarian, I'm impartial and I'm neutral. But let's pretend for a moment there was a risk of a terrorist person or people being there. You still don't bomb healthcare facilities. And it goes against the Rome Statute of 1998. And motive is irrelevant. Motive is absolutely irrelevant. It's the intent to destroy a healthcare facility, regardless of what you think your motive might be. That goes against all international and humanitarian law.
Dr. McMonagle, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm now standing in the courtyard of Al-Ahli Hospital in northern central Gaza Strip, where the Israeli fighter jets have targeted this place, resulted in massive devastation. Worth mentioning is that this is not the first time the hospital has been targeted. This is the second time. The first was on October the 17th, 2023, resulted in an Israeli massacre. At least 500 civilians have been killed in the first attack. The second was yesterday. We can clearly see the scale of devastation and the crater created by the Israeli missile dropped on this surgical operation unit.
We were receiving treatment and asleep in the hospital when suddenly they told everyone to evacuate at around 2 a.m. We started running with nowhere to go. We don't know where to go if hospitals are unsafe.
We can clearly see that this is the emergency unit. We can see the beds are empty right now. We can see the broken glasses due to the brutal attack. No patients are being received after the Israeli military rendered out the only barely functional, it was once a barely only functional hospital in northern Gaza Strip. Now it got out of service and it is right now empty. We can also see the scale of devastation inflicted on the other part of the emergency unit.
They struck the hospital at exactly 8 minutes past 2. There's nothing to target here, as you can see. There's an ICU unit behind me, and then there's the emergency triage area, and this is the only hospital we had in the area.
Al Ahli Hospital is located close to Al Shijaiya neighborhood, which is witnessing a ground invasion by the Israeli occupation forces. The situation is getting much more catastrophic in the light of the ongoing Israeli targeting of healthcare facilities and rendering them out.
If you say this is fucked up and unconscionable and correctly say that this is a genocide, the American government can just disappear you and send you to a fucking concentration camp in El Salvador, by the way. And people like Asmongold think this is appropriate. Monsters, dude. Actual fucking monsters. If you are a legal permanent resident, if you got a green card, you're about to fucking apply. You're about to get your citizenship the day. You're about to become a naturalized citizen. The American government can just come and kidnap you. Asmongold is officially in the final stage of becoming a fucking roach. Disgusting. When I hear shit like that, it's just like that is so much worse than any kind of like, oh, the titties are not big enough in video games nonsense that he engages in. Disgusting.
Out of service, and people will have no other place to get medical treatment after the ongoing Israeli attacks. Ibrahim Khalili, Al Jazeera, Gaza City, Palestine.